Thanks for tuning in to the Medevac podcast, powered by the Robert Irvine Foundation, whose mission is to support and strengthen the physical and mental well-being of our nation's heroes and their families. I'm one of your hosts, David Reid.
And I'm your other host, Christian Meyers. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Medevac podcast. If you're new here, or if you're old here, you know what I'm going to say. There's a price for the show. You have to share it with a friend or family member if you get something out of today's episode. Our guest today is Chris Lewis. He is both a Marine and an Army veteran. He spent about 7 years in the Marine Corps from 2009 to 16 as a logistics. We're going to dive into that a little bit. And then he was Army infantry from 16 to 20. Got out, and now he started a service called Vets to Drones, where they teach veterans how to become drone operators in the commercial and beyond, various markets. So welcome, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to the show, Chris.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining. And you flew in from
North Carolina.
Just to be on the show with us today.
Hang out with you guys and see my good buddy Andrew here in San Antonio.
That's right. That's right. And we'll dive into Andrew, who's joining us in a little bit about going through your program, which is pretty incredible. So let's rewind it back a little bit and talk about, first of all, you did 2 branches, which is pretty awesome. Usually it's the other way around. People get sick of the Army and then they go in the Marines because they're like, come on.
Or the Air
Army
Force.
Infantry compared to Marine infantry, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of animosity between the two, but
I know. I can't even tell people that I'm a Ranger without them just attacking me if they're a Marine. I was once sitting, transitioning out of the military in my fatigues at the whole base's S5 shop, I guess. It's like finance right before you get out. And I'm sitting there just minding my own business, and this Marine lady is just staring at me. And, she's like, all Marines are better shooters than anyone in the Army. And I was like, put the knife down, lady. I'm just trying to get my finances in order.
yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah, it was.
Just bring it to the range, man. Got to prove them
That
wrong.
was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Wrong.
Everyone's a Marine, a rifleman.
Yeah.
I love it.
The shooting training we get over there is definitely great. Shooting at 500 yards with iron sights, it's awesome. Well, depends on what year you got in, I guess, because they switched to ACOGs. But I know how you
Tough to do with an M16.
full A4, man. You gotta have a full body for that. Yeah. Now I know how you Rangers shoot, man. You guys are monsters out there. I got a bunch of buddies with the long tabs, so it's good stuff.
It's good stuff, man. So let's start it off with, how were you inspired to join the military? Did you have family that was there?
Yep.
What motivated you for that?
So both of my parents were in the Army. Mostly on the logistics side. They actually met in the Army band. Both my parents are musicians. My father's born and raised from New Orleans, jazz musician. My mother's North Carolina, pretty formal corps style musician. And that's how they met, out in Fort Polk.
Okay.
Which, if you've been there, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was born. So born in Fort Polk, up to Fort Sill. My mom retired and then moved back to Louisiana and was raised down there.
Awesome.
But my grandfather was actually the only other Marine in the family. He was a wild hair. He, I think, deployed to Panama way back in the day and jumped out of airplanes for high school football games and stuff like that
nice.
in North Carolina. Taught carpentry and photography around the Raleigh area.
Just kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, just a monster. I mean, little tiny guy. I've seen his dress blues. They're look like toddler size, but it's crazy how small they are. But a great guy.
Yeah, so that kind of inspired you to join the Marines.
Yep.
Was your grandpa?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then your parents got mad at you, so you decided to leave the Marines and then join the Army.
So yeah, definitely my grandfather inspired me to do the Marine Corps because he's just an amazing man. And I was like, all right, well, it's good following his footsteps. Plus, I asked my mom, I was like, which branch, you were in 23 years, you retired, you have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Which branch makes sense? And she was like, well, you don't want to be in the Marines. They're just different. And that sold me.
Yeah.
Right? I was like,
Yeah.
definitely join the
Mom,
Marine Corps.
Mom should never say, you're always going to do the opposite, right?
Yeah, that's it right there.
She's not wrong, though. The Marines are very different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It is
couple
a
of
different
ticks here and
branch.
there.
It's just, they're very good at just instilling a certain mentality into you. That's the thing, is Marines are crazy in that you're like, attack that hill, and they'll go full bore to the front and take that hill no matter what.
That's it.
Yeah.
The invincibility that is instilled into the average Marine's mindset is incredible.
And the pride that they take in their jobs too. I've never
Uniform, professionalism.
Whatever it is, any Marine I've ever worked with in the past when I was in the Air Force, if it was a comm guy, he took that so seriously and had so much pride. He knew his job inside and out. And I always compared it to the Air Force, where you have to like incentivize people to do their jobs. You ask a Marine to do his job, he's like, absolutely. How can I help? Like, yes,
it's also like making it work, right?
Yeah.
The Air Force's budget compared to the Marine Corps' budget, completely different. So you learn to respect. You learn to respect, and you were in logistics as well. Your equipment and a little bit more, and you take pride in it, right? And that's why that sense of professionalism in a Marine is so paramount.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a great kind of segue into, so we obviously, there's not a lot of people out there who've been in multiple branches. We actually just the other day heard of a individual who was a Ranger.
Yeah.
He was a Navy SEAL.
Yes.
And he was a pararescue jumper.
Yeah. Then became a PJ.
Wow.
And he was just like, I'm going to do all three. Like, I'm going to do all of them.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we'd love to hear some of the biggest differences that you saw in the military, being in the Army versus being in the Marines.
Absolutely. I mean, day one in the Army, I had my Marine Corps assault pack with me with the MARPAD on there. Mm-hmm. So First Sergeant walks by and is like, "You're a Marine?" I was like, yes, First Sergeant. What's going on? He's like, "Well, welcome to the corporation." That was the biggest hint to what I was getting myself into. Army's definitely run like a gigantic business, and it really brought that realism to calling each unit a company.
Yeah,
and it's just like, wow, this whole thing's run like a huge business, a giant corporation. Money's flowing here and there, and that's why there's contracting officers in each different location and stuff like that. So it was just very interesting to see how big, too, the Army really is compared to the Marine Corps. You have your unit size, like a battalion's, like 1,400 people in the Marine Corps. In the Army, you'll see a battalion march just all the way down Ardennes, and you're like, does it end? Yeah. Just nothing but red berets or burgundy berets as far as you can see. And it's just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Massive.
It's interesting that you say that it's ran like a company because it is. And the bureaucratic nightmare of getting anything done in the Army is just, you're in logistics, you tell me. I mean, it's nearly impossible, right? And with the change of command that we constantly and consistently see, it makes it even more difficult because now you have leaders that come in and they don't want to stir things up because they're leaving in 2 years.
Yeah. Or they want to change everything because the last guy that was there for 2 years had his own system. They're like, this is all garbage.
Yeah.
Wipe it clean.
Yeah.
It again.
So I feel like by the time you catch up, you're on the way out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big issue that I hear horror stories about from even my parents from when they were serving back in the 80s. It's the same story, 80s and 90s, same story over and over again of this giant bureaucratic system, the consistent waste with the budgetary kind of concerns, where instead of optimizing your budget to make sure you have some left over, it's all like, hey, spend everything.
Yeah. So we can get more.
So we can get more next year. Yeah. That's why they have those field days where artillery will go and blow up everything, or you go to the range and you'll light every single round.
And it is. I remember those. Expenditure.
Everything.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, we have 3 pallets of Gustav rounds. You're only authorized to shoot 6 a day, but, we're going to do 23 each. My ears are bleeding at the end of it. We've just wasted about $500,000 worth of gear.
You got to take one of the pallets and just put it out at the other end of the target.
Even better way to be wasteful. You're right.
I'm talking. This is an efficient way to be wasteful.
I wasn't in the Air Force.
Okay? This is an efficient way to be wasteful.
The brains over there.
Hey, Pitt, park that C-130 out there. It's been used a couple times. Let's go ahead and blow it up.
Let's waste it. Yeah.
Need to buy 2 more next year.
I can't tell you how many rounds I've shot out of a minigun. Just like not even aiming, just putting the minigun out the window. It's too cold. Like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just hitting the button.
And
66 rounds.
And each round for a 50 cost about $1.
Yeah, well, the armor piercing incendiary tracer ones that we would use.
Oh, they're like $7.
Oh yeah, those I can't even imagine. Probably
Slap rounds.
15, 20,
but a basic standard 50 cal round's about $1, right? $1.30.
I think 10 years ago. I think these days it's $5-6 a round.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, inflation.
Inflation. Yeah.
So talk to me about how many rounds you're going through, right? You're going through for one fold.
Well, in the minigun, we'd have a magazine of 2,700 rounds on either side of the helicopter.
Yeah.
So it's 7.62 with the 50 cal. You'd hold 600 rounds either side.
And how many seconds does that go through? In about 10 seconds. You get through half of that.
You're supposed to do bursts of 3 to 5 seconds, which I mean, it's
my point is you're in a couple minutes you're burning through
it's 33
thousands of dollars.
It's 33 or 66 rounds a second on the minigun. So do that math. It's 3,000 rounds a minute.
Jesus.
Plus,
Anyway, wasteful.
Very wasteful, but
That's the point.
Also fun.
That's the most.
It is.
You're never gonna have more fun than shooting a minigun out of a helicopter.
I don't think you're going to have any more fun than just being in the military in general. Like
Also
I
true.
I think about this all the time. I'm sure you do as well. It's just like that's when you're the most alive. But God damn it, did it suck while you're going through?
Yeah. So you embrace the suck, right? That's what we say.
Embrace the suck. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? We've heard them all, but
Takes a
at the
little
end of
while
the
to get
day,
there.
that's how you know who you are, right? So you've done both. You did logistics. How did you kind of get into that route?
In the Marine Corps. It's kind of how I fell into place. I'd planned to become an officer and all this other stuff. Started, popping out kids pretty early, and was like, all right, I need some active duty time. I was actually in the reserve at the time, and I was like, hey, Marine Corps, you have any active duty slots? They were like, you want to be a recruiter? I was like, absolutely not.
No.
I'm good on that one. Would have been excellent at it, but no, not doing it. So went to the other branches. So I was like, hey, Navy, you have any SEAL slots? What do you have going on? They're like, no, you're E5, get out of here. I'm like, all right. Went to the Air Force. We talked a little bit
Yeah,
about
they
that.
hate that. The cross.
Yeah.
I don't understand that to me.
Yeah.
Do
Doesn't
you?
make sense. No, not at all.
Now, yeah, it was a strange, what year was that? Like 2016 too. So I think it was kind of drawing down and all that too. So
It's just, I think it really has to do with the fact of they integrate you so well to each siloed branch. They don't want you diluting them. You go in.
I think it's counterintuitive though, because
It is.
every Marine or former Army guy that we had at my Air Force unit, very effective, and they brought a whole different approach. They brought a whole different mindset, because you have a captain showing up in the Air Force. You're not in charge of shit. You're in charge of maybe like 2 or 3 people at most. Like, you're not in charge of anyone. In the Army, you're a captain. You're in charge of 5,000 people. So you come from that approach. He's like, well, I've been in charge of a lot of people. Now I have all this experience that I can just hammer into one person or 2 people that I'm overseeing. It makes it, I think it's very effective and very efficient. And bringing a Marine over to the Air Force, like, you want to talk about getting shit done? Like, who are you going to ask? That guy.
Yeah.
He's going to get it done.
Yeah, but we had a buddy who was in Rangers, and he goes to the PJ pipeline, and they pick on him. They pick on these guys, and it's almost unfair.
A little bit, yeah.
It's almost.
I think it's
unfair.
counterintuitive.
I think that brotherly love is needed. It's like, hey, what branch? Yeah, get out of here.
It's a friendly competition.
It
definitely.
is friendly, but when it starts to impede on the ability to bring in that experience,
Yeah, like you said with the Navy, saying you're an E5, go away. Like, no way. Like, why would you say that?
Well,
bring him in.
Yeah, with the Army,
especially in Navy SEAls, like you want that.
Yeah, you want a
experience.
Marine. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted E3 and below at the time for anybody transferring over. So I was like, all right, whatever
Silly.
works.
Silly to me. Yeah,
But,
E3s are useless.
Then the Army had the 18 X-ray route, and I was like, they were like, you want to go drink frog soup on the side of a river in Cambodia? I was like, yep.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
from
Sounds
Louisiana.
about
That
right.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people are like, you're insane, but I was like, yep, let's do it. Jump out of
it's-
airplanes, all that stuff. So went that route. Definitely had a lot of hate from the infantry guys over in the Army saying, you're not infantry. You got to come here and prove it here to get your
EIB
Blue
or
cord.
CIB,
the
and
blue cord. Just
yeah.
way back, man. Yeah, you got to think back to when you first joined for all that stuff. So
Oh yeah, the blue cord.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
that whole deal. Yeah, all that. Drink the Kool-Aid and jump out of airplanes. So there was a little bit of hatred here and there from that, but proved myself, did my thing, it worked out, and went on from there.
So you came from logistics side in the Marines, and then you went over to Army infantry, obviously. How was that changed? Because you've been in for 7+ years at this point. Like, you've got a lot of experience in a non-combatant role, heading into a combatant role. It's not what you would normally see. Most people enter in a combatant role, they get tired of doing the hard work, and they're like, all right, I want my retirement gig now, and move over to logistics. So you were looking for more out of that, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I probably joined the Marine Corps without the right kind of direction. You know, I was kind of a born fighter coming from Louisiana and just being kind of rough in my youth.
Yeah.
Should have probably joined infantry right out the gate. And I do say a Ranger bat would have been my decision at 18 nowadays. But
Yeah.
didn't know at the time. Had no idea that like I would thrive in that kind of environment or it fit like a glove really. So when I went to the Army, like it fit like a glove. So,
Okay.
carry heavy stuff, shoot a lot,
So you felt more at
yell
home.
at people and tell them which way to go really fast. Yeah, I was like, this is perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you were looking to fulfill something within yourself. Like you had that longing and you went after it. And there's a lot of people who have that and they never get the opportunity or never take the chance to go after it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when I was deployed in the Marine Corps doing logistics, doing convoy security, more of a bullet sponge than you're not going out and creaking down doors or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
just long logistics convoys with IED fields and SAF. Returning fire and calling in airstrikes and just make sure you get the logistics train wherever it's going.
Yeah.
And that's when we see people get hit, man.
Yeah.
Like quite a bit is in those convoys, a lot of non-combatant roles, right? And then, being engaged, I would much rather be on an infantry side of things than, with a bunch of, people that are running numbers,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just, it was getting shot at all the time instead of actually being able to shoot back or return. That kind of sucked. So, we're an armored vehicle, so everything worked out pretty well, but it was still just not as comfortable. And then, that's what I was looking for afterwards. It's like I went over there and just got shot at the whole time instead of being able to like actually do anything. It felt horrible. But
lean back into it. Yeah.
we can bring it back to drones a little bit. That is where I did have my initial experience with drones, right?
Okay.
And the Marine Corps, they kind of just handed me a box and said, "Hey, this is yours." And I was like, "What's in there?" And it's like, "It's a drone." I was like, "What's a drone?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "You got to fly this thing." I'm like, "What in the world's going on?" Right?
What year was this?
It's 2011 and 12.
Okay. So early drone technology.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we had the T-Hawk. I don't know if you've seen that shop vac that flies. Looks like one of those weird strobe things from the Star Wars probes from Star Wars. Didn't bring that outside the wire. We're like, this thing's ridiculous. It's too loud. It's clunky. It's just a propane powered shop vac, basically. It can take off in the air.
It was propane powered?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Hell yeah.
Pull the string and go.
Just
Like
a
a little
floating
lawnmower.
bomb.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Then we had the RQ-16 Raven, it's battery powered. Slap the battery in there. You probably use some of that kind of stuff. Hand tossed.
Yeah.
That's what we used on the convoys. And then every night we'd go firm. We'd have a big a box of trucks and angry porcupine, all the guns pointing outboard, and we would do persistent ISR at night using thermals to make sure no bad guys were coming up on us.
Sure.
So using that over there, using the RQ-16 over there gave me a lot of perspective of what drones could do. We kept our entire 120 vehicle convoy safe while we're trying to get some rest and stuff like that.
Sure.
And that led me to pursuing that technology after going to school, using my GI Bill, and coming out into the commercial drone industry.
Gotcha. Okay. So you had your first experience with them in 2011. Was it something you got into over the preceding years? So
Not at all.
okay.
Yeah, just random touch while deployed. And then my brother actually got into drones hardcore, right? Air Force veteran,
Okay.
big into tech, was a photographer, like getting into drones and stuff like that. And I was like, when he first told me about it, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you have these robots, you're flying around taking cool pictures? Like, why? Fast forward a couple of years.
Interesting. Yeah, how it always works like that. We always meet these kind of new age philosophies with resistance,
Yeah,
right?
Sometimes, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I had no idea what he had.
What
going
is this witchcraft?
It's true. Yeah. It's kind of true.
You're wasting your time away. You said the same thing with kids in video games. Now they're making 17 million a year.
Yeah. Reviewing and playing video games.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother topic. We're not in vets to games yet.
on? No, that's a whole other guy. Yeah.
That's company number 2. No, so you get out. So you have this experience. Your brother kind of motivates you to get into this as well, or
So I had a strange course of study when I was using my GI Bill. It's basically a canvas of human technology technology and how it affected society throughout human history in a nutshell. And started leaning towards the next level of technology, what's coming next. So studied a little bit of biotech, some of the other IoT, Internet of Things,
Yeah.
Web3, blockchain technologies, and then of course drones. So I kind of give you that perspective of understanding, or at least being able to see that there's a potential in these new technologies, especially
Definitely.
drones, and how it could affect society. So I graduated from school in 2020, middle of COVID. So now I have a bachelor's degree, out of the military, and now I'm in the civilian world for the first time, right? And I'm like, what the hell just happened? You know, the world's on fire, COVID's going on. There aren't any jobs out here. There's weird, like 9-to-5 corporate jobs. They're trying to put me in a cubicle. I'm like, you guys are insane. I don't think you know me.
No.
That's not going to work.
Not me.
No,
You can't put, I think, any infantryman in a box like that.
Well, I'm from
Can't box me
Louisiana,
out.
too, and I just grew up going down to the river and shooting at alligator gar and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
day
not-
in and day out.
Yeah, it's not normal. I can't do the normal kind of lifestyle stuff. So I got really lucky, basically, right? I got a drone, started getting into it. It's flying out this little $150 like starter drone they use for like K through 12.
Okay.
Flying around the backyard with my kids and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, cool. Meet a guy at the park in Raleigh, right? Dorothy Dix Park. It's big open space in the middle of the town. And he's like, hey, do you want to go to California and start making money doing this? And I was like, what?
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's do it. So he's like, all right, you got 48 hours, get in my truck, let's go.
Oh, shit.
Got in his 03 F-150 and drove to California and started in the drone industry. So we were doing the wildfire mitigation program for the power line companies out in
Yeah.
California.
Yeah.
Huge contracts across the entire state because of the Paradise Fire that happened back in 2018.
Yeah, I was on that one.
Wow. So, yeah, so
Big.
the insurance companies after that fire require the power companies to inspect the lines every year.
Yeah.
So now those were the contracts I was hopping on.
Okay. Yeah. They used to do that with helicopters, and they would hang a guy from underneath it, and they'd fly up to each individual pylon. The guy would check all the individual ones. Helicopter would swing over to the next one. They would do it from Northern California all the way down to Los Angeles.
Well, that's a fun job. I'm pretty sure that's like a 1 in a million kind of guy to do that job
Yeah,
first.
that's
and
hard.
then the
Yeah.
efficiency.
Yeah. I just saw this article about this tower. I forget where it's located, but they pay this guy $20,000 every 6 months to go change the light bulb at the top.
Yeah, it's like a radio tower in North Dakota or something.
Yeah,
that's wild.
and to think about like these kind of brave individuals who do this are just like, we're going to replace it with this kind of technology.
Yeah.
I remember
Safer and faster works.
my
absolutely.
buddy back in like 2013 had a roofing business, and he integrated drones into checking the roofs, and made a boatload of money with it.
That's it.
Made a boatload of money with it.
Just think anywhere where it's dangerous to send a person, it's like, well, send a drone first,
Yeah.
check it out.
Scope it out.
Yeah, makes it a lot easier.
It makes total sense. So you get this big. So who is this guy this random guy you meet you said in Louisiana, right?
No, in North Carolina.
North Carolina, excuse me. So you meet this random guy. He says, "Hop in my truck. Let's go make some money in California." Who is this? How does this guy influence you, and what happened from there?
So in the industry, he's known as Flight Mike.
Okay.
He is one of my best friends ever.
Okay.
Like a brother to me, honestly, at this point. You know, right then we had just met and drove to California together.
Yeah.
And since then, we've done all kinds of projects. After California was done, we went down to Miami for, I think, Hurricane Dorian.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Doing power line inspections down there as well. Soon as New Year hit, I think it was on New Year's Eve, we drove from North Carolina to St. Louis to do telecommunication inspections out there for the cell towers. I think it was for the Dish Network rollout or something like that. And then back to California, and we kind of just canvassed the industry, kind of going around and hopping on all these different jobs, which he had been doing for years. You know, I just got really lucky to kind of run into him while he was doing this incredible drone journey. You know, he's been in the industry, I think, since 2013 or 15.
Okay.
Out of New York City, and he's just a true red-blooded American, not a veteran, but he's from New York. You know, saw the towers drop way back, and he's just a mover, just an absolute hustler that will get out there and get the job done. And you know, I really picked up on that, I guess, that New York energy whenever we were working together, and rolled with that into my own career in the drone industry as well.
Nice. Yeah, there's a ton of applications for the drones. I mean, from commercial to defense, now we're seeing like that's quickly increasing. Now the integration of AI into the drone technology at the same time. I mean, they're doing some really cool stuff. I mean, whether it's reconnaissance or commercial inspections like you're talking about, or even the big sky shows, like where they're integrating 500,000 drones into these massive shows.
Oh yeah, they're replacing fireworks.
Yeah.
No, they worked in conjunction with them. So we just had a team do the Carowinds 50 Nights of Drone Light shows.
Okay.
And they did fireworks and music and all of it at the same time. So they had drones on this side, fireworks on this side.
Nice.
It was a 200 drone show, and they did it for 50 nights straight.
That's cool.
Excellent. So, and we have had several firefighters say, we help train firefighters and stuff like that now.
Yeah.
You're going to replace my side gig. My side gig's doing the fireworks for the town or the counties and stuff like that. I was like, no, bring it together.
Yeah.
So this is that's why you're so defensive on this, because this is a hot button topic.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great cash flow opportunity for anybody trying to get into the drone industry.
I think they're cool.
I think it's wicked. So talk to us about the setup of this. I mean, you were in logistics, so you understand kind of the premise of this as well. But like the coordination that it requires to get 200 plus drones in the air, synchronized, ready to go for 50 nights in a row. What does that look like?
So I hired I brought the veterans to that opportunity. Not the company that actually hired the veterans is a huge fireworks company out of Ohio.
Okay.
They've been doing fireworks for, I don't know, 100 years or something like that. So I just facilitate getting the veterans to the work.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
make sure they're trained up and get out there.
Yeah. I mean,
do you have an idea of what that looks like though? Like if you're running a 200 drone show like that, how many people does it take to operate something like that? Is that like a big giant
what do you even carry that in?
or-
A Connex?
Yeah, they have a Connex.
Or is that like two dudes who show up and they set out some drones and someone hits a button?
That's it.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah. It's one or two guys out of a Connex. They have a it's not metal because the metal messes with the GPS of the drones, but it's like this carbon fiber platform. They set up all 100 or 200 drones or more on that carbon fiber platform and press the button whenever it's ready to go. It's like an arming switch and a button.
So it's
That's
not
super cool.
And back when this started, right? We talk about the progression of technology. It was someone placing them on the ground, one by one.
Yep.
And now we have just trailers that can open up and launch them off.
No, they still place them all out. Yeah.
Oh,
Take them
okay.
one by one, yeah.
But I mean, eventually it's probably going to get like that. You'll have a bed, you'll open the top, and they'll just all spill out.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of.
Have you seen the Amazon drones?
From Amazon.
Jesus
vans,
Christ.
yeah.
It looks like an alien invasion. Like just all these like drones just popping out.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've seen some
sickening.
of their designs
Awesome.
and stuff, their hives and stuff like that. It's pretty
The
interesting.
hives.
Oh man.
That's what they're calling them now,
Yeah,
dude.
it's pretty intense. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
But for the most part, we're in training veterans to get in the commercial side of the industry, doing infrastructure inspections and stuff like that. One of the main reasons we wanted to talk was the Veterans in the Forest initiative as well, and what we're doing to train veterans and prepare them to get into reforestation work or forestry work.
Okay.
So the Veterans in the Forest project is one of our key initiatives, and it's culminating training after we bring them through our ground school.
Okay.
And they go out to the field. They perform actual or data collection missions out in these reforested areas all across the U.S.
Okay. Gotcha.
And what does that look like? What does that entail? Are they just canvassing the area? What's going on?
So we get KML data or maps from the clients and say, hey, we reforested this site 2 or 3 years ago. We go out with the drone. We have the KMLs and we set up with our software, usually Drone Deploy, one of our partners. We set up the software to map out that area. After we map it out, we get the data. We send it to another veteran partner of ours out of Georgia that does the AI data analytics to pinpoint and locate all the trees and the saplings, and then we get an accurate count of those areas to see the survivability rate after they've done a reforestation.
Okay. So you guys are tracking regreening everything.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's awesome.
and is it?
Oh,
Go ahead,
yeah.
please.
Before we dive too far into the programs, let's rewind a little bit and talk about. So you got this experience working with Flight Mike, right? And then is this when you found Vets to Drones, or is this when you get the idea to start integrating it? Before we get too far into the programs, let's talk about how and why it started.
Perfect. So yeah, that was when I met. Obviously, I'm a veteran as well, but that was when I met one of the veterans in the industry. He was brand new as well. Similar story. He was in grad school. Grad school got shut down because of COVID. Like all the funding went to biotech. Kind of thing. So we met each other out in California. One of his buddies, he was like, "Hey, why don't you talk to my buddy Trevor? He's an Army vet. He's a Cav Scout. Deployed to Afghanistan a couple of times." And I was like, "All right, cool. Go talk to him." He's like, "Man, he went through 20 years of warfare for what?" He's like, "Had buddies that died over there. There's no real reason for it." And I was like, "I get you, man. Yeah, things are rough. It doesn't really make any sense."
Yeah.
But look where we are right now, right? We're out here in California getting paid decent money. to fly robots around. It's just an incredible place we can be together in after our service. I was like, I think there's more into this. You know, it's just like finding your solace out in the civilian world.
Exactly.
We're actually able to use some of the skills that you gain in the military, especially the hard skills from like infantry kind of stuff. You know, you're able to read a map, able to traverse land that's pretty difficult, drive off road. You know, things that
so
we
it keeps
think
you
of as simple.
outdoors and too, we talk about this all the time with adventure therapies. And I think this kind of falls under that category of when you're engaged in an activity like flying a drone, I'm sure everything else melts away. All you could do is focus on this, focus on that expensive equipment that's now you're responsible for. It's not big Uncle Sam. It's in the air. It's got propellers, all this stuff. So you're just so totally focused on this. That's got to be kind of, and we didn't talk about this, just help with your mental health a little bit as well, right?
Absolutely. It's peaceful. Like you're hyper focused, which you know, some of the other veterans I've talked to about before have touched on that. It's like you don't get that opportunity to hyper focus in on something like that out in the civilian world. And that's what they trained us to do for years. So it's like, wow, this is an opportunity to use that skill or that ability. The gentleman I'm talking about right now was part of a motorcycle club. He's like, that's the only other time he finds that kind of solace is when he's riding a bike pretty fast. You know?
It's got to be fast. You got to be moving where you have no other time to think about anything else.
Exactly. And then your life's in danger. So it's make it remote.
And you're not in a fucking cubicle, man.
You know? No. Well, since I started Vesta Jones, I've been a keyboard warrior all day.
You know, and we talk about that balance all the time as well. And at the end of the day, we come to the conclusion that when you're sitting in an office and a majority of your work is being forward facing and out there, you know, interacting with, you know, your customers, your clients, whatever the case may be, that administrative work, it needs to be done, but it only moves the needle so far, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you find the balance in that as well? Is you didn't want to go to a cubicle, but now at least you control your own schedule.
Yeah. Honestly, I lean heavily on volunteers that help out. You know, as a veteran community, there are a ton of other vets that are interested in this technology. We just passed 900 yesterday, which is great.
900 what?
Members.
Of Vets to Drones?
Yep.
Dude, that's incredible, man.
Started at 40 last year, around June, and up to 900.
Between now and last June.
Yep.
So in a year and a month or two.
What does this entail? Nice. What are the volunteers doing? What's going on? Like you have 900 people in your you know, your roster. What are they doing on average?
So one of the things we do with Vets to Drones is a fly day. Right?
Okay.
We just get a bunch of veterans together. We bring out a tent, a bunch of drones. Hey, if you're a vet, come out here and fly. So if we're talking to a veteran in California, say, hey, we need you to coordinate this, and this, so we can come into this town and have a place to fly. It's in clear airspace.
So you have chapters essentially that could help with the logistics in any state. That's the plan, right?
Yep.
That's incredible, right? So you offer that subject matter experts to engage with other companies?
Yeah, well, for the most part, I tend to do most of the like corporate interaction kind of stuff, but when it comes to getting there in person and doing like a fly day, it's all heavily relied on the volunteer in that locality. We also have a team built internally that we meet multiple times a week, if not multiple times a day, and talk about our marketing strategy, just the integrate or bringing on new members into the organization, making sure they get a warm welcome. They know where to be at what time. Join the webinar on our Thursdays and really get interacting with the rest of the community.
Nice.
It's just veterans like to help each other, and it works out really well because this technology is not. I mean, it seems simple at first, but once you get into the nitty gritty, it's like, okay, this is some complex tech.
Oh yeah.
And having a community to lean on to move forward is huge.
Especially if you're trying to do it on your own, right? Like if you're trying to learn these things in order to start your own commercial business or your own defense business within the drone industry, like you're going to have to dive in really, really deep into that technology and understand it, especially since it's evolving like every other week there's a new piece of technology that's dropping for these things, right?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even some of the largest defense contracting companies are now on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen this new documentary out, but it's Killer Robots.
Oh yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's not really the appeal we're trying to have on the industry. We're not looking at killer robots and stuff like that. But, Shield is doing a great
we
job.
do work with some individuals that do some of the killer robots, man, and it is a scary world, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that integration between drone technology and this type of thing too, robots as well, crosses your mind quite a bit. How do you find the balance between that? And what are you doing to educate yourself, educate your team on integrations like AI and robot technologies?
Yeah, I lead a lot of the charge when it comes to like reading and doing a lot of weird document deep dives. But we put a homework channel on our Slack.
Okay.
So whenever I read a document, I'm like, all right, guys, you need to pay attention to this. I'll drop it in there and I'll put a little announcement. I was like, guys, check out this homework. And some people read it, some people don't. If they do, it's an interesting conversation on the back end.
Well, that's great. I mean, it sounds like you have consistent communication with the people who partake in your program beyond just like getting them trained, right? So it's a group where they have access to continuous resources and continuous education specifically for the line of work that they're getting into, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the importance of the community. It's like,
I love that.
It's constantly evolving, and the knowledge base is so vast. When people come from cybersecurity or from infantry or from whatever background, it's like there's so many different types of skill sets that come into this industry. It's really, then we help them hone the direction they want to go in this industry and how they want to use their technology to make money, start a career, or start their own business.
Okay, so say I want to sign up for this program and I want to learn how to fly a drone and get into like commercial droning, or I'm not sure what jobs are available for me. So I come to you and I sign up. What's the process look like from there?
You sign up, go to vetsjones.org and sign up. The first thing to do is get on the webinar.
Okay.
Come to a community and have that as close to a face-to-face interaction as we can have when you have 900 members all across the country. From there, we invite you to the Slack channel, and that's where it's constant communication with all the different chapters and different drone pilots within our community across the U.S.
Okay, so right off the bat, you have access to start learning.
Yep.
I mean, that's
Yeah, we don't want to slow anybody
It's almost
down.
like the
great
the ham radio perimeter, right? It's just you invite this just culmination of individuals out who just have a drone hobby, right? I mean, that's pretty incredible. So they get to go attend this webinar. Probably don't talk much. They listen.
Most of the time.
Get on the Slack, and they're starting to get all these updates. And then what? What's next?
Well, now we recently received a grant from Truist Foundation.
Okay.
So with that, we're starting our training next week. We'll be in North Carolina first. We have about 15 students signed up for next week.
And is this like free for veterans? That's incredible.
Completely free. The only thing we ask is that they get there. We have hotels all covered and ready for them to stay at.
okay.
A couple of restaurants have also volunteered to provide meals. So
Wow.
we're good to go for the week.
So just travel costs.
Just travel costs.
That's-
If we couldn't cover the travel costs, we would have extremely diminished our ability to travel.
Yeah, of
Regardless,
course.
but you're going to, I'll let you get into the program, but you're going to like learn skills that are going to take you into a brand new career for the cost of a plane ticket. Like that's worth the investment right there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible. Have you looked into like skill bridge programs to help train these people? Yeah, that's incredible.
So we're registered on SkillBridge as well.
Awesome.
We have several other SkillBridge interns coming on. We've had, I think, 4 or 5 come through our program so far.
Okay.
It's been incredible for them.
Now, are you helping with job placement as well? That's incredible as well. So not only are you giving these vets an opportunity to attend this program and learn, which is the certification on average is what, 25? Like how much are these things worth
For the
for
drone
like a
owners.
commercial drone?
Commercial drone certification is $175 from the FAA. But
Okay.
the training courses out here are pretty expensive. I mean, there's some that go for 3 days and you'll pay $5,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty expensive to go and get the formalized.
So you're doing this, you're giving them the opportunity, and then also maybe here's a job for you at the end of it.
Yeah, we have several hiring partners all across the industry, and they're excited to hire veterans. We're excited to train veterans and send them to them, so it works out pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your program look like? You said you have 15 participants showing up. How long is that program? Is that like a 3 to 5 day course, and what all are they learning?
Yep, it's a 3-day, so it's phase 1. So we're broken down in 3 phases. Next week's phase 1, 3-day course. It's the NIST lanes, which is the National Institute of Science and Technology. It's basically a shooting range for drones. You go out, it's timed. The scoring method is based on time and accuracy.
Okay.
So imagine going through a shooting lane. It's same thing, but you're on the sticks. We'll be doing mapping training as well, and we'll test them out on NIST the end of that week. We also have one of the best drone pilots I've ever met, Trevor LaCourish. I met him down in Army veteran. Met him down at Hurricane Ida. He's doing a lot of the telecommunication inspections out there, and he's going to be our primary instructor for next week. We're doing a bonus day on Monday as well, so where he can come in and kind of show off his everything from his rig, his drone rig, to all the drones in his arsenal, and some of the ones he's built as well. Yeah.
Is he doing the FPV stuff too?
No, not as much. He
that kind of
does.
stuff?
I would call him a sensor expert. So
Okay.
when it comes to different types of data collection and the analytics behind it, and the types of sensors and that you would use for those types of data collection, he is the guy for that.
Interesting.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it gets
That's
down.
incredible. So let's get a
love
sneak
it.
peek into where the technology is going. Like, for instance, we know with AI integration that piloting the drone is not going to be as prominent, right? You could essentially set parameters that say, go over this area and just do it up. So now you're not on the stick as much. So what other kind of things are you seeing in this world?
So with I don't think drone piloting will go away in completely for at least 5 to 10 years, because the forefront of the technology is always going to need a person with a Part 107 flying that drone to make sure they're doing this either new use case or this very technical or sensitive use case. Now, past that, the FAA's ARC report came out, was the advisory committee from DC with Part 108. So Part 107 is your initial commercial drone pilot's license. Part 108 is designed for one person to be able to control multiple drones at one time beyond the visual line of sight. So in an office setting, with a dashboard in front of you with 40 drones up there, right? That's coming pretty quickly. I'd say 2025, we're going to start seeing those types of jobs come up.
Okay.
I do know some of
So it's almost like monitoring security systems at that
absolutely.
point.
Well, think of fire
Or
department,
air
police
traffic
department.
control kind of thing.
It's
your
digital air traffic controls, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be stressful.
It's fun. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, 40 screens. What is it watching, I guess?
Yeah. Well,
Depends on what it's
Say
watching.
they're not all active at one time.
Okay.
So you have a public safety agency, police or fire, and there's a fire across town. You're at the precinct and you get the call. As soon as the call happens, one of those 40 drones is in the
so
air.
it's like dispatch
responding,
almost. Yeah.
dispatching
Okay.
to that location.
Interesting.
Then the fire chief is able to sit in the truck while the truck's headed to the site, which is about 2.5 to 3 minute response time, and see the fire and plan the fire while they're en route.
A full 2 minutes ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that time counts too.
Absolutely.
When you're responding to an emergency situation like that, if you can get eyes on 2 minutes ahead and get a game plan going, other than just like, if you're a firefighter, what do? Pull up in your truck and then you start to figure it out.
That's it. It's like, wow, this building's on fire.
That's great. I mean, that's exactly what we would do in rescue. We'd get a radio call and like, hey, pass this information to us so we can get like, are there buildings around or are there trees around? Can we land in the area? Like, give us like some information so we can start building our game plan. And a lot of times it's just like, I don't know, like, come on, we need help, show up, and you'll figure it out when you get there. But having eyes on ahead of time is a really big deal.
Absolutely. And that's where a lot of the AI capabilities are coming up right now too. Is the visual analytics of different situations. You know, whether it's training a machine learning algorithm to identify firearms or for hot spotting for fires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Vehicle counting, things like that. So,
Or even basics, like in the fire department scenario, right? If they're receiving a call that contains a location, well, that can be an automated feature, right? So not necessarily for threat determination or anything, but just the logistics of like the address comes in, you know where you're supposed to be heading, and that drone can automatically launch and head to that address.
Absolutely.
That can be completely unmanned at that point to where it's an automated system, and even just steps like that leading towards.
It makes it easy, right? You have that GPS guidance there. They just start circling the perimeter until you're ready to operate.
That's pretty damn cool.
That is.
And then further capabilities are coming as well. But that's the next step that's coming up between now and 2025. That's what a lot of folks are working on.
Okay. And then further capabilities. Sounds a little ominous.
Well, it was interesting. We're here in San Antonio. My buddy Andrew's here, our marketing director, and he's locally here. He's like, hey, man, we got to check out this TechPort San Antonio thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? What is that?
Yeah.
Get over there, go inside, and first thing I see on the wall is this giant mural and it says Vertiport. I was like, these guys know what vertiports are. What's going on? So a vertiport is designed for air taxis. So not just delivering pizzas and cappuccinos, but eventually a method of transportation for people to move around more easily. So I don't know if you've seen like Joby or any of these other air taxi companies, but it's designed for you to get inside and take you across town autonomously.
Yeah.
So I've read through all the FAA regs surrounding vertiports and how they're designed and stuff like that. But it's really interesting to see, or that's what would come next from like that 2025 to 2030 kind of span. It's interesting to see people at least interested in that part of the tech, you know.
It's interesting, but I don't know. I might wait for V2 or V3 before I give it a shot.
Well, they've already had the aircraft are out there. I don't know if, I mean, they've been testing them out a lot. I have seen some organizations that have the huge drones, and it's grounded. Like they don't touch it. Like I don't know how to get this thing in the air. I'm like, all right, that's cool, but
it's not good. But I mean, at the end of the day, we know that it's not like a pharmaceutical company. You have one death correlated with drone transportation, and the whole company will go just under.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have that motivating you at least.
And the FAA is is very safety focused. So those regulations are there for a reason. Think about when you go on a commercial airplane flight, like you're in a giant metal tube flying through there. Like there's a lot of safety regulations surrounding that because it's
and how often do you see plane wrecks?
Not as often, not that often.
Not that often. Yeah. So I think we have the technology out there. It's just the companies who cut corners and go cheap with things. That's where the big problems are at.
Absolutely. Well,
we have the technology to build anything that we want. It's just cost effective is how we have to analyze that, right?
Absolutely.
Same thing we talk about all the time with prosthetics. You could have one that'll let you jump 30 feet up in the air, but no one wants to pay for that.
It's going to cost you.
It's going to cost you $1 million to make that kind of thing, and when you have a certain amount of individuals, is it worth it? I think so.
Yeah,
someone with a prosthetic
in favor of that one. Yeah, I think it is worth it. The biomechanical kind of technology is definitely important. I think there's a lot of inroads on that one, and I think a lot of the help we can provide with our program is like some veterans that can't walk anymore. I was talking to one I think last week or the week before. He's doing a shooting competition, and he has a chair, and they're pushing him through the shooting lanes so he can get through a course of fire. I'm like, man, that's incredible.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, of course. It's like, that's awesome. You're able to do something you used to do. But why don't you come hang out with us? And we'll teach you something you've never done before that you could do.
We'll teach you how to fly.
Teach you how to fly. Exactly. Get you in there. Get your own Sprinter van rigged up for you. You can go anywhere.
Yeah. See anything. Yeah.
To do this kind of work.
It's such a great point for paralyzed veterans too, who are paralyzed from the sternum down, have the operation with their hands.
Yeah.
And you give them that freedom to fly, see anything you want in the world.
Absolutely.
By just, with your van. I love that.
Yeah. One of the main veterans we talked to, he's our drone deploy rep, Rob Corbett. It's huge help when he's has some troubles like limited use in his hands and stuff like that. But he got into the drone industry and just completely excelled. And it was incredible to see his journey when he was, just being Rob on his own out of Virginia, flying drones around and having this cool thing. And then when he got picked up by Drone Deploy, it was like, boom, look at that. Just amazing success. Nice. When most people would say, oh, he's got some kind of disability. There's no way he's going to be able to excel in the civilian world. And he's just rocking.
Yeah.
He's doing great. So it's just
crushing.
incredible to see.
Yeah. Hear that too often. Then I love watching people say, no, watch this.
Exactly. That's it right there.
I love that. That's great. So what's the drone job market like, right? So this is obviously...
I was just going to ask that question.
Man,
what jobs are there out there for drones?
Same wavelength on this side of the table.
That's right.
So what's the job market look like? What can you expect? Like if you're trying to just get into this, obviously this is a job placement program on top of, you can have this as a hobby as well, but what can people expect? Is there a healthier job market right now? What are they starting, like a starting salary? What can it grow into? What's that stuff looking like?
So I give people 3 routes, right? You're either going to do a W-2, you're going to find a larger company that's doing mass hiring for big inspection type of work, like in California, some here in Texas in the Southwest. You're going to go freelance, which is hopping on these like Uber-style apps where you do a drone on demand kind of thing. You just grind it out, go and hop on all these different job opportunities so you can get your hours up and work into something else. Or you own your own business and you dive all the way in and you find your niche in the industry and you become the drone guy in your local area.
Yeah.
Right? In my hometown, I'm the drone guy. Everybody knows me as the drone guy. And those are really the 3 options. Now, when it comes to W-2 work, there are huge opportunities coming up, but it comes in these like waves, right? The way I got into the industry is kind of, it's evolving into a more professional kind of style.
Sure.
Whereas I dove in pretty quickly and kind of hit the ground running. But basically in January, there's a wave of hiring in California. In between, right, when it gets really hot. So we say June to August, it's kind of a lull. It's too hot in California.
Everything's on fire anyways.
Yeah. All the fires are starting. Nobody wants to be out there inspecting the power lines when, there's a fire over the hill.
Yeah.
And then towards the second half, so in the middle of the industry is when I would come home and build my own business. Do drone jobs, do construction mapping for a university or different commercial clients, or hop into telecom and do some cell tower work, kind of freelance in between. And the second half would be hurricane season, especially for us in the Southeast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like rotating your business across the country to hit the certain peaks throughout the year.
That sounds pretty fun.
That's also that's very innovative as well. Yeah. I mean, this is something that over the last 20 years you couldn't even dream of doing.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, even the last 5 years. If you go back to 5 years, I was like, no way.
Ease of travel, you could go to the airport. You don't have to go to the airport 3 hours before anymore.
Yeah.
You might nowadays because everything's delayed. Dallas, that's up to you guys. Fuck DFW, American Airlines, Dallas. Yeah, I feel you. So that's really just being adaptable. And do you think that quality, was driven into you from the military?
It has to be. I mean, I really don't have any other like civilian job experience. My whole life before drones was almost a decade of military experience, and then came out here and I was like, I don't fit into your weird little gray box you want to put me in.
True story.
Had to go.
True story.
And, hit the ground running and haven't stopped for in 3 years, I guess, since at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like there's some pretty cool opportunities, and it sounds like it affords you the freedom and flexibility that you had in the military in some aspect or another, right? So you're not stuck in a cubicle, but you can go travel. You get to be outside. You get to be engaging with an audience or people that you're like-minded with, right? So you're still engaging with veterans who fly drones. So it kind of doubles down on the interest there. So you're staying within your community again. You can really go do whatever you want, wherever you want. It sounds like.
It's becoming that stage, which is great because all I really want to do is help veterans learn how to fly drones and progress this industry a little bit further. So it works out perfectly in that end. But for any other veteran interested in getting in, it's like that. You're going on these incredible missions. It's work. Right?
Yeah.
I tell people it's not easy. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
There's no like easy button. This is not a get rich quick kind of scheme. Like you're going to go work your ass off. But I don't know if you can find work as fun as this in the civilian world.
Yeah.
You're able to travel, not just nationally, but internationally to do this work and basically be on demand to do data collection missions anywhere. And right now it's just it's a hot button. It's a hot ticket. And there's a lot of opportunities out there, especially internationally.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it sounds like you get out of it what you put in, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you got a drone sitting right there next to you. I know we do have a lot of audio-based listeners, but can you describe like what the average drone looks like, what it flies like?
Sure.
I think we all have this notion that drones are these huge, for commercial use at least, are these huge things that we use to kind of use an airport to launch out, but that's not the case. These things could fit in just a small suitcase.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not talking, mostly for commercial work, we're not talking about Reapers and all those huge drones like that. But most small quadcopters like this will be enable you to do some type of data collection work. This is the Skydio 2 Plus. It's American-made drone, blue listed, which means it's able to be sold to the DoD, which is excellent for the company. This company is known mainly for its autonomy, its ability to detect and avoid. So it has 6 photo sensors on top and bottom that do a 360 view, so it won't run into any obstacles whenever it's doing inspections, which made it perfect for bridge inspections, which is one of the workflows that came, or use cases that came out right when this drone was being released as well. And actually, North Carolina was the first state in the union to sign the waiver for bridge inspections conducted by drone. Which saves an incredible amount of time, manpower, everything. You can go out there with a 2-person team and inspect, and completely map out a bridge down to a centimeter accuracy.
And what are you looking for when you're doing these bridge inspections?
Oh, for a drone pilot, you're looking to make sure it's a perfect picture that you send to the engineers so they can determine the structural integrity of a bridge. That's that's definitely not my expertise.
So what I mean by that is, like, are you like looking for cracks? Are you looking for breaks, old dilapidated bridges, like train tracks? Like, is that the kind of bridges you're looking?
Exactly.
Hard to reach.
It's all safety standards based off of civil engineering standards that are outside of my necessary realm of expertise, but it's cracks.
So you're essentially the eyes, and you report this back to them, and they go through it. Do you follow on? Do you with that, or you just deliver it, and do you stay engaged with the process? How does that work?
It depends on the client. Like if I'm working for a W-2 company, right, I'm collecting the data, providing the data to their analytics team. It's cut and dry. I'm a drone pilot. That's it. If I'm running my own business, my own for-profit business called Spotter, yes, I'm doing the full analytics. I'm following on with the client, doing full reports, whether it's integrity report, the ortho mosaic report, measurements from whatever building or structure I'm measuring, full thermography reports that I get signed off on by one of our thermographers. Yeah, that's a whole, if you run the whole business, you do the whole thing.
Yeah, amazing.
But W-2, you're out there flying a drone, Part 107, and it's just a ball. It's awesome.
Man, it is just incredible drone technology. We just recently saw a video of a drone flying over an active volcano. Have you seen that one?
Absolutely, yeah. It's incredible.
Cool. Yeah.
And just the ability to reach places that we never would have thought existed. I mean, that footage that you see, and I encourage everybody to check this out, it's something you would never, ever see in your entire life unless you had a drone.
That's it. Yeah.
And that person like burned their drone to the ground
that's
too.
What I was going to ask.
Right?
Have you seen the burn marks afterwards?
Yeah, it was done. So like
some magma. Yeah.
To utilize that footage, he risked his drone to get it, but it was beautiful. The most beautiful footage you'll ever see of an active volcano. So I'm just so excited to see the future. Now, for those that are interested in joining, Vets to Drone and participating in this program, where can they find you out? And what's a message that you have to the audience to inspire those that this might be the path for them?
Absolutely. So easiest way is vetstodrones.org. Go on our website. You can sign up there. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. The YouTube channel is growing and is incredible right now. Got to check out all the Veterans in the Forest field reports are on there on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
And you'll see Trevor Van Dyke out there with his wife, Micah, just flying all those sites out there. I think all Idaho to California to Pennsylvania, all across the states. Nice. Incredible videos he's putting out, and it really gives you like kind of that perspective of what kind of data collection missions are out there too.
Amazing.
So definitely check that out. So social media and our website's the best way to get in touch. My cell phone number is still on the website for now.
Don't give it out here.
I like it. When veterans reach out, it's great. If they give me a call, and it's really good to get that personal touch, which as many of them as possible. I do like to do that, but we're up to 900 now. It's getting there. Yeah,
it's a little busy. Mm-hmm. And words to inspire those to maybe consider that this is the field for them.
So if you're we've had a variety of people in our program, some that are already professionally successful, some that are completely down and out. So it's for everybody, right? It's for any veteran that really is looking for something different. But if you are struggling in the civilian world, you're not really finding like whatever feels right, fulfilling your purpose, or if you have that itch to go on another adventure, that's really what we're looking for. It's like if you want to get out there and do something interesting, that fulfills that urge to just get out. That's what we're looking for. And people that want to take it seriously as well. It's people that want to are open to diving into something that's completely new. It's a long road ahead.
Oh yeah.
So people that are definitely interested in not just drone technology, but the technology surrounding drones and the data that's collected and what it can be used for. Those are the kind of folks we're looking for. But there's no limit to, like, your past experience is not necessarily completely relevant to what you can bring to the drone industry, but it's people that are looking for something new to move forward and grow into, really.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your experiences and what you do nowadays. Vets to Drones sounds like an awesome program. And I know we had a conversation before this, and working together moving forward is going to be a lot of fun. So
absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And it's a great opportunity. Medevac podcast, we should talk about some of the medical delivery drones one day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
How they're replacing rescue. No.
It's a new tool for your tool belt. Man.
Yeah.
It's another tool.
Exactly.
And that's what I kind of learned from you too, is like, we should emphasize that fact, is that it's a tool to be put in your arsenal. It's not there to replace you.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
and that's what a lot of people have, think about all this technology coming out, is that it's going to replace their jobs. We don't have a tendency to realize that there's going to be new jobs out there, like dispatch drone, like watching these screens. So there's going to be other opportunities out there, and we're excited to pass some vets along your way if they reach out to us.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, look forward to meeting them and training with them soon. Hopefully here in San Antonio as well.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Exactly. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, Chris. It was a real pleasure talking to you. And for anyone out there, if you're interested, head on over to vetstodrones.org. Give them a look. Sign up if you're interested. It's a great opportunity. You can use this to be creative and get into filming and videography. If you're a data nerd, you can get into that kind of stuff. Ample opportunities, yeah.
And listen, like deforestation, right?
Reforestation.
We're
planting trees.
Really getting drones out there to cut down these plants. No, just kidding. What I meant by that is, reforestation is if you have a knack for, nature itself, you have this tool to see more of the world. And for those who are injured, we talk about this all the time. This is an opportunity to spread your wings a little bit as well. So I think this world has a little bit for everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely. I completely agree. And, I know we're wrapping things up, but I want to kind of harp on the veteran in the forest program again.
Yeah.
We've had incredible partners come forward from these reforestation NGOs that work internationally, planting millions, tens of millions
one
of
tree
trees.
planted.
One tree planted.
Yes.
Huge NGO, 80 million trees since 2015. It's just incredible.
It's crazy.
And we just have the privilege to count them using drone technology, which is
saplings.
An amazing opportunity. Yeah, the saplings. So the way we got into it, when I was pitching the idea to One Tree Planet's team, I told them, like, we want to provide peaceful deployments to our veterans. Right? They work
I love
internationally. We want to be able to send veterans out there with similar to deploying back in the day, but we're going out there to do these great missions, right? Yeah. Reforestation down in Costa Rica or Africa, Australia, across Europe, and of course across the entire United States. You're able to go and see these national forests and get into locations that most people will never see in their lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a great opportunity. And I love doing it. When I went out to the field, I brought a couple of our members down to South Carolina. We camped out at this cool, like, bed and breakfast, not an Airbnb, but a legit bed and breakfast in the countryside in South Carolina. Had a fire that
just
night.
Auntie Anne cooking you breakfast in the morning.
It's incredible.
Some buttermilk pancakes.
A couple of cigars around the fire in the evening. And it's like, man, let's go for it. And we went and flew drones all day and then just hung out. It's a good time.
Amazing. Well, thanks again, man, for sharing your story. We really appreciate you coming on. Probably have you come on again here in the future, and we'll talk about some medical technologies, deploying drones for that kind of thing. I know Christian's going to love that.
Oh, yeah. Sounds interesting. But thanks again, Chris. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you today and learning about what you guys do.
I appreciate you both.
Yeah. If you are listening to the show and you're waiting for an opportunity, you found it. This is it. What are you waiting for?
Adventure.
Yeah. Vetstodrones.org, and then share the podcast. Engage with this somehow. Let's get those rookie numbers up.
All right.
Thanks. We'll
See you next time.